Hello everyone, in this video I am going to be giving you messages and guidance from the Akashic Records. If you are new to my channel, I'm Anika Ray. I am a spiritual intuitive teacher and coach. I specialize in reading the Akashic Records. Actually, I've been doing that for the past 13 years. And it has been a profound transformational healing journey, which is why I'm inspired to share the Akashic Records and some of these messages and guidance that come through. However, if you have watched my videos before, we generally focus on some general messages and guidance, but this time I'm actually guided to really take you on a journey into the manifesting and offer you some guidance and messages around that. We are getting ready. If you're watching this video, it's timeless, but when I'm recording it, it's the end of the year and we're ready to really begin the new one. A lot of us are reevaluating things and getting ready to manifest, and maybe you are having some questions around that. And the best way to work in the Akashic Records, which, by the way, if you don't know, are this infinite, giant, energetic library of the soul. They contain the vibrational records of each soul's journey, past, present, and future, and everything that's ever been created is in the records. The best uses of the records are really what we're doing now, is getting some soul level insight and guidance that is not available to us intuitively through channel state mediumship or even through our thoughts in a regular state of human consciousness. And so we reach out to that, but every reading is healing as well. Now, I am fully transparent. I am not doing a collective reading in a way that maybe intuitively I do it or channeled. This is really me tapping into my own records, but because we're all connected in consciousness, this will resonate with you. And as I mentioned, we are going to talk about manifesting. So let's jump right in and ask some questions in the records that can give us some guidance. I actually wrote down, if you see me like looking down, it's because I'm looking at the questions that could be relevant for a lot of us. And this is where we're going to start in the records. But before we do, one of the general messages that's coming through is that within each of us is a creator being. That soul and the consciousness of the soul, the fiber of the soul in itself, carry this really creative energy. So you are able to shift and bend the reality, but it is not without certain limitations, which really is what we're going to talk about. In other words, you don't need to be manifesting everything that really comes to mind, because a lot of times this may not be beneficial for you in this lifetime, and also it may not truly be aligned for your highest and best good. And so when we're talking about manifesting here, we are really talking about conscious manifesting, something that truly aligns with you. And this is the guidance that I'm going to give you as to how to actually do that, what some of these questions can help you really sit with yourself and create a manifesting strategy. Be rooted and aligned with your soul when it comes to manifesting, aligned with your path. So why don't we jump in? The question number one is, what is a soul level guidance about manifestation process, and how does my soul want me to co-create with the universe? So the first thing that I'm getting is, for a lot of us, this perception of manifesting really includes like visualizations and desires only. But there is a deep soul level truth behind what you're trying to manifest. And if you lean into that truth of the reality of this manifestation, of this desire, what and why is this really important to me? What is behind that, the manifesting, what I'm trying to manifest? Where is that for me? And how does this truly align? And I know we're going to talk about it a little bit. So your soul is really guiding you to create or co-create with the universe by understanding the underlying reason for this desire, for this goal. It's not just that I want this because I want this. It is, I want this because this is so meaningful to me, because it leads me. And this also, from the records perspective, is maybe leading you to spending a little more time in discernment and intentionality, opposed to just getting onto your vision boards and, really your thoughts or other tools that you may be using when it comes to manifestation. So starting there, starting with the reasoning, a lot of times this reason can be as simple as, I feel a deep desire to change my career because I am, really drawn to my purpose. So this whole sentence, this whole intention, this whole why brings this additional element of that manifesting power, because it brings that soul level desire, soul level perspective, that depth into the experience. The second question is, how do I find out if this desire is aligned with my soul's path and purposes? For a lot of us, the reason why manifestations don't happen is because we don't realize this is not a part of our soul's path and purposes. And it's interesting because from the very beginning, from the records, is, understanding that your soul's purposes are rooted in your desires. And when you really spend time on this first question as to finding out why, that really brings you to the depth of the meaning, and it starts to lead you into understanding your purposes and your path if you don't really already know that. And a lot of times it's just like another layer to it, why this is important, and it leads you to really understand your soul's path. It may also lead you to understand why this is important to you, because when it comes to other people, because soul's purposes, a lot of times for a lot of you watching this video, may be linked to service, and that attitude and energy of service or giving back to others. So when you're trying to manifest something, you a lot of times maybe, and myself included, we don't align it with how is this serving others. Now, it's not always about service to others, but it's helpful to know that, whatever you're trying to manifest, it will serve others. It will serve your friends, your family, your other, like maybe your better half, right? Your partner, and generally humanity, because for a lot of you, this can be the struggle as well. And also subconsciously, you may not even want to go down that road unless it serves others. So this is the best way to know how to align it with your soul's path and purposes. Particularly soul's purposes is, how is this serving others? And also you can ask, how is this serving me? Because that service, right? The reason why really ties into how is this helpful? How is this useful to me? How is it serving me? How is it serving others? How is this going to better my life? And, how is this going to better others? The soul's path in itself is full of manifestations. Soul's path in essence is the path that you're living as a human with heightened spiritual awareness, whether you're aware of it or not, right? It is about how do I really become aligned with my soul, because otherwise you really wouldn't be asking that question. So all of the human experiences are really manifested in a way. Sometimes it is about unconscious manifesting, because we're always unconsciously manifesting That's what's coming through the records, but you're really learning how to do this in a way that the soul's path has spiritual meaning to you as well as the human. You're connecting the dots. So when you're manifesting things into your life, you're doing it with a premise of living more spiritually aware. And that's very deep. And if you want to go this deep, you can really ask that question from yourself. How do I become more spiritually aware? And bring that through the manifesting process. How does this heighten my spiritual awareness when I'm trying to manifest a better job? So again, the messages from the records may be a tad more, right, spiritual than what we may be used to, but just go with it if you feel like this is the right way of manifesting for you. So this is how you align, right? Service, asking about spiritual awareness, how to become more spiritually aware as you're manifesting this particular thing on your path. Question number 3, what patterns or past experiences may be influencing my ability to manifest? And you can add what you're really trying to manifest. By the way, just letting you know, these questions kind of came from different sources and like what people generally ask in readings, but also what they ask generally with manifestations. So what patterns or past experiences? And right away, what I'm getting is immediately childhood. For a lot of you, it could be patterns from childhood, wounding from childhood, inner child issues. A lot of it ties into worthiness. So this is the big thing that I'm seeing right off the bat is this worthiness. Am I worthy, deserving of this? This is not only in childhood. Another thing that's coming through is past lives. For a lot of you, there is this almost like imposter syndrome. Also, I'm seeing a pattern that may be ancestral as well as past lives. So I'm seeing very specific things here that I think the childhood is very general, but then specifically these patterns rooted in past lives, ancestral. So the ancestral pattern that I'm picking up on is also unworthiness, but also something about giving up your authentic self. And how authentic do you actually need to be to manifest what you truly desire? Is this authentically yours? So a lot of things around authenticity. Is this truly your desire? Is this something that somebody else is desiring for you, or it's coming from the expectations of society or other people? I'm getting a very specific message for somebody related to motherhood. If you're trying to manifest this and it's not happening, you may want to really re-examine first of some of these patterns from childhood, but also this collective pattern of, is this authentic to me and my experience? It is being a mother, which is very rewarding for a lot of, I'm not a mother, so I can't really speak to that, but I'm assuming this can be for a lot of people, a lot of women, or, regardless of gender, right? Like a lot of you that are a spiritual path, is this something that I really want to experience if I'm really trying? Or, questions around, motherhood and being a mother and what you're trying to manifest there. So again, this pattern, ancestral in nature, collective in nature, a lot of things is this authentic to me? I'm sensing that for some of you that are watching this video, whatever you're trying to manifest may have been a decision collectively, or you may have learned to manifest collectively with others, or asking for others' approval, permission, or, kind of mimicking or modeling based on what others or society really tells you that it's the right thing to do or have. This could also relate to like material things and what does success look like, having a great career, or, a pen, like the word that's coming through is a penthouse, or, and if you're successful, that's great. And if this is what you truly desire and it's aligned with your soul's path and you really know the reason why, and it's more spiritual in nature for you, great. But I'm sensing that for some of you, some of these things feel inauthentic, whatever you're trying to live up to or manifest. Another example they're giving me is, being a doctor or an engineer. I know that's very stereotypical, but for some of us, it's like our parents' expectations. So, these are some of the patterns, these are some of the experiences in your life that are directly affecting what you're trying to manifest and generally the manifestation process. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. We're going to jump into the question number 4. What beliefs or wounds need healing that are directly connected to my ability to manifest? I think we touched on some of this. The belief of, first of all, you being that co-creator being and having the alchemy or the manifesting process really available to you, right? That you are able to manifest, that you don't need the record's saying you don't really need any magic. This is not about ceremonial. I see maybe a lot of you do ceremonial things, myself included. I do like ceremonial things, but that's like what the records are really saying. It's like a cherry on top. It's like an additional boost of energy. But you yourself carry in that fiber of the soul. Remember what I mentioned at the beginning when I did an introduction into this? You carry that co-creative energy. So, if you have that belief and if you can shift that, you are that manifestor being, you are the co-creator of the reality. Again, keep in mind certain things you're going to be able to manifest faster. Certain things may not be something that is for your highest good, not really aligned with your why and your service and purpose for this lifetime. But generally, that is what's coming through the big belief. It also touches, interestingly enough, on your ability. The belief is, can I share this again with others? Like, to what extent do I need to share with others? I guess the belief about being selfless and selfish and that egoic space. Am I doing this out of ego? Am I doing it out of like spiritual needs? And this is not mutually excluded. The ego is a part of the human experience. This is what's coming from the records. So, the belief about, is this selfish? Is it self-centered? Is this too egoic? Can be affecting you right now. And if you can really connect your ego to serve you in a way that this becomes more of a spiritual experience for you, and it does have spiritual meaning, what you're trying to manifest. But the records are saying, if you go too deep into down this rabbit hole and talk yourself out of this, it's almost like you have that critique or some sort of a judgment against self, whether this is something you can gift yourself really, or is it too egoic? Is this like super selfish? So these off the bat are the two biggest beliefs. Another thing that really ties into this is the belief of like, am I able to receive this? Because for some of you, this feels like a huge thing and overwhelming. Am I able to receive this? If this is like money, because that's what they're giving me, am I able to receive this amount of money? And one of the things that the records is bringing is really imagining this amount or this, whatever you're trying to manifest, really being a part of your energy. And how would that look like, right? Like an everyday, like getting really comfortable with this being present in your energy, in your consciousness, practicing this receiving and seeing where you are uncomfortable, because that's really where the work begins. That's what the records is saying. Are you uncomfortable having this much money or having this new job? Like, what version of yourself do you have to become comfortable, right? Is this making you uncomfortable because you feel like if you have a lot of wealth, it would change you? I'm just giving you examples. So where you feel uncomfortable when you're practicing this being your energy, or like just literally like imagining this being a part of your reality, that's where the work begins, and that's where you start to heal this, and it ties to this question's premise of what needs healing. Number 5, what intention setting or practices align best with me as a manifester? Ooh, well, this is really a big question. The answers will really vary, and this is what's coming through the records. Would these answers really vary for a lot of you? But the practice, again, of affirmations, of really sort of like, again, what we just mentioned, practicing this being in your energy. So really the Akashic premise is, how do I ground this into my reality, and where does this feel misaligned with me at the moment? So if you can do this practice that we mentioned in a previous question, this really helps. For a lot of you, it is about practices that have a lot to do with heart-centeredness and engaging emotions, even motion. So emotion and motion, something that evokes emotion. For a lot of you, could be some spiritual ancient practices that are very emotional, but also they include motion. I see like drumming, dancing, like sacredness, burning things on fire, right? Like these are very, again, the records are saying cherry on top, right? These are very like ceremonial things for some of you. And then of course, everything that we mentioned so far could be a powerful spiritual practice. So, everything so far that has been mentioned, how does this serve me? Journaling, right? All of that. Why is this important? Law of attraction, right? Affirmations, shifting the beliefs. All of these are practices that can really amplify your manifesting power, practicing grounding into the planet, right? Also, I'm seeing a lot of law of attraction for a lot of you really does work. And I mean, law of attraction is believing that it's coming to you, that it's rightfully yours, and not in an egoic way, but in a very heart-centered way, that it feels authentic. This authenticity is such an important part of this process for you. And again, really honoring where limitations are, because whatever manifests out of that initial intention is really great. So we're not giving a passing grade to this manifesting process. So for example, if you're asking about a career and you get a promotion where you work, that's okay. It's an opportunity for you. It may be that you need to sort of learn something else at work and then get to that, what you're really trying to manifest. If you are trying to manifest in this concept, let's say for the career vision, you're trying to manifest a new job at this particular company, Google, for example, and it takes you to Apple, right? Or it even takes you something further to like a website design, or like, I don't know, like AI. I'm just like giving examples that are coming through. That's okay, because again, it's not really true to your vision, but on a soul level and as a human, maybe there's some value and opportunity for you to learn it. And so being flexible to the manifesting process is a part of the practice, which really brings us to the final question: how do I honor the timeline? Oh, the divine timing, we need for manifestation. And really keeping yourself grounded and also honoring time in a human sense and in a spiritual sense. This is what they're saying. So I want to know really what this means. In a human sense, it takes steps, right? Like setting goals, taking action, doing the appropriate action, preparing yourself. If you're going for an interview, you're not just walking in thinking that you're going to get the job. You still have to prepare. So really doing the linear things that take precedence. For some of you, I see again, like relationship things. You know, if you're trying to manifest your soulmate, you're not just doing spiritual things, you're actually doing practical things. You're putting yourself out there, you're going on the apps, you're meeting people, you're networking, you're, you know, whatever it is that you need to do to really attract that soulmate. The divine timing is really that what you have given the universe, and then sort of like the universe works it its own way based on the actions that you're taking to bring all of that in the alignment. Sometimes the inner work really does help and the divine timing comes in. But the divine timing is really the right timing, because if something happens prematurely, it's not good. And if something is taking a long time, it's also not good. There's this fine middle, and the universe really does know this fine middle. There's something to do with you learning as a human and also doing like the spiritual manifestation, the visualizations, the affirmations, the inner work, right? When these two things align, you know, when your intention, when your work spiritually and your actions align, that's what's coming through as the divine timing. And this is really interesting because honestly, this is new to me. So I'm learning this myself. So honor that, you know, don't really think about it a lot as, oh, when is this going to happen? Opposed to what can I do to make this happen? What actions can I take? What inner work can I do? What affirmations? What visualizations? Is this really from me? Is it authentic to me? Take into consideration all of the things that we talked about in these 5 questions. And wow, the time has really passed by and we have spent a lot of time in the records. I know this is a longer reading, but I'm going to list these questions and so you can come back to each question the way that you see fit. You can also use these questions to journal, to go into the records if you actually know how to access the records consciously and heart-centeredly. That's what I, really recommend. If you're interested in learning about the records, interested in learning how to access them, I teach classes and I also do readings. So if you need personal guidance around manifestation, I will leave all these links in the description. And this time there is a holiday season happening, and I offer specials, but I also offer specials for all of you that join my community on my website. And if you like this and you want to hear more about the Akashic Records, more about guidance from the Akashic Records, please like, subscribe, share this video. I am trying to really bring more of the awareness around the records and soul level guidance to all of you that are spiritual seekers and light workers like myself, because I know how powerful it can be. I'm sending you lots of love and light. Until the next video, bye now.